You ever see something strange in the weather? Like a city getting hit with just record-breaking rain out of nowhere, causing these crazy flash floods. Or maybe you've heard stories about clouds just appearing. When stuff like this happens, you see the whispers start online, asking the same question. Is this just nature, or is something else going on here?
And then, boom, you see posts just like this one. Whenever there's some kind of extreme weather, these claims just explode across social media. This one in particular, floods are not natural anymore. It's almost become the tagline for a huge and growing conspiracy theory.
And that really is the question at the heart of all this, isn't it? We see something that just feels off, something we've never seen before, and our minds, they just start scrambling to find a reason, to find some kind of cause.
And that's where the theory takes a really dark turn. The idea that these aren't just random acts of nature, but that they're actually being engineered. But, I mean, if they are man-made, who on earth could be pulling the strings?
Well, if you believe this storm of viral videos and posts, one name keeps popping up over and over again. So today, we're going to dig into the science, we're going to follow the money, and we're going to uncover the truth behind one of the internet's biggest, wildest conspiracies. Okay, so to even begin to unpack all of this, we first have to talk about the technology that's right at the center of it all. It's called cloud seeding.
Now, right off the bat, here's something you absolutely need to know. Cloud seeding is not science fiction. It is a very real weather modification technique, and it's been used for decades all over the world.
So how does this thing actually work? Well, the process is actually pretty straightforward. You've got an aircraft that flies up into a cloud that's already there, and it releases these teeny tiny particles. These particles act like seeds, giving the water vapor in the clouds something to grab onto. This helps that vapor condense, and that can increase rainfall just a little bit. The most common seed they use is something called silver iodide. And the reason it works is kind of cool. Its structure is super similar to an ice crystal. So it basically tricks the supercooled water in the cloud into freezing onto it, and that kickstarts the whole precipitation process.
And this right here is the single most important fact that gets totally ignored in all the online chaos. You have to have existing clouds already full of moisture, for this to do anything at all. You cannot, I repeat, cannot create a rainstorm out of a clear blue sky. No clouds, no rain. End of story.
And this brings us right to the critical, fatal flaw in this whole weather control conspiracy. Let's really look at the hard limits of this technology. You see, this is where the conspiracy just completely crashes into reality. Cloud seeding is notoriously unreliable. It only works if the conditions are perfect, the success rates are pretty low, and you can't really control when or where it's going to rain. And most importantly, it is absolutely 100% incapable of creating massive superstorms or floods. You know, I love this analogy from scientists because it just nails the point perfectly. Cloud seeding isn't like taking an empty sponge, filling it up with water, and then causing a flood. It's more like finding a sponge that's already a little bit damp, and then just trying your best to squeeze a few extra drops out of it. So, if the technology is this weak, how in the world did Bill Gates get dragged into all of this? Well, to figure that out, we have to do what they always say: follow the money. This is the question that powers the entire conspiracy engine. And the answer, well, it has nothing to do with controlling rain to make floods. It has everything to do with funding a much broader and way more theoretical area of climate research. So what he has done, through his foundations, is support research into these huge ideas known as geoengineering. We're talking massive, theoretical concepts for fighting global warming, like, for example, studying ways to reflect sunlight back out into space to try and cool the planet down. And there it is. That's exactly how this conspiracy was born. People took one thing, funding for experimental climate research, and they twisted it into something completely different, a secret, active weapon for controlling the weather. That is a giant leap, and it's a leap that is just not supported by any of the evidence. So the big question is, why do these ideas catch on so easily? Let's take a look at the anatomy of how a myth goes viral. Well, think about it. When a chaotic event like a flood happens, it's terrifying. And our brains are basically hardwired to look for patterns, to find a simple explanation for all that chaos. Then you throw in social media algorithms that are designed to push the most shocking stuff to the top of your feed, and finally you attach a globally famous name like Bill Gates, and that is the perfect recipe for a conspiracy to just spread like wildfire.
All right. We've gone through the science, we've followed the money trail, and we've looked at the psychology.
Now it's time to lay it all out on the table and deliver the final verdict, separating the fact from the fiction.
Let's just break it down as simply as we can. The claim: artificial rain can create floods. The truth? Nope, it's way too weak and unreliable. The claim: Bill Gates is controlling the weather. The truth? No, he funds climate research, which is a totally different thing. And the big one: can humans actually control the weather? The truth is a hard no. We just don't have the power to wrangle the massive energy inside these weather systems.
So if you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. The technology, cloud seeding, it's real, but it's weak. The conspiracy theory, on the other hand, is incredibly powerful in how it spreads fear and doubt, but it's false.
And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. As our climate continues to change, we're going to see more extreme weather. And that means we're probably going to see more theories just like this one. So the next time you see a storm brewing, whether it's on your screen or outside your window, ask yourself, am I looking at science, or am I just seeing the internet playing tricks on my mind?